Just got your contact. Hello, everybody. This is Nicole Johnson-Starr with the PTSD Retreat Radio Talk Show. As you guys know, we've been having this series that we started recently with the 6 Senses of PTSD, and we had Urian Plesman and Pam Colleen on for the, our taste, i.e. what we put in our body and how it affects our PTSD. Well, now we're going to move into hearing, the sense of hearing and how we are affected by music and can use music to affect PTSD. So tonight, we're not going to get into that so much, but we are going to introduce our expert that we're bringing on the show, who will be with us for the next 6 weeks to talk about music. And our expert tonight is Bill Protzman. I'm saying that wrong. Is it Protzman?
You got it.
Oh, yay. Okay. Bill Protzman, he is the founder of Music Care, and you can go to musiccare.net. If you can't find it, just go over to the PTSD Retreat page. It's already listed for you, so you can actually just click on the link. And he's going to introduce himself. Now, Bill, I've gotten to listen to some of your videos, and I've read all about you. I am thoroughly impressed by the skill that you have and your ability to connect with people. Why are you doing this?
Oh, it's a really great question, Nicole. I was, cruising along through life, having a dual career as a businessman and a performer. And the show that I was doing for many, many years was one that engaged people on a real one-to-one level. So folks who were in the audience were way more than just sitting there listening. They were actively involved in what the show was doing to them. They had an understanding of what the music was supposed to make them feel and why they would feel that way. And it's a little bit more than just, going on a roller coaster ride in the dark. You actually can see the hills coming, right? So after a little bit of exposure to what this music is supposed to do to you, the audience was beginning to anticipate the next hill and the next drop and the adrenaline rushing and all of that. It's a fair analogy. Well, I did this show once, and the audience was a therapist whose husband was a Vietnam vet with severe post-traumatic stress. And she said to me, Bill, you must do this for the military. And that was, 2006, something like that. In 2007, I premiered the show that was specific for military. And since then, I have gone through, I don't know how many different iterations. When you're a piano player and you have to travel with a giant black heavy instrument, it's pretty difficult to just drop out of the sky on a helicopter onto some hill and talk with the folks who are there. So I've had to learn how to separate from the piano and work with a PA system and an iPod basically to be able to get the music across. But it's been the same concepts, and so over the course of the last few years, I've gotten the show to a place where I can sit down with a group of people for about 25 minutes and acquaint them with a realistic understanding of how the music that they love changes how they feel.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's pretty difficult, for a therapist to do that in 25 minutes, and I'm not a therapist. I don't take any credit for it, but once you understand how what you listen to really does change you on a physiological level, you can start to use that tool. And music, whatever your music happens to be, does have this predictable effect on you that you can turn to whenever you need it. So if you need to get happy, you can use happy music. If you need to get sad or support yourself in the feeling of being very sad and grieving, you have the music that you love. You can go to that and that support you in that place. Here's the magic. If you allow music to support you in your transformation, you can sort of supercharge that transformation and come out the other side of it in a way that you can't predict that is usually very good.
Okay,
and,
you're getting into the show. You got to tell about you. This is an introduction to you.
Yes, this is the magic about what happens here. Me, as a performer, I've always watched people in the audience to see what's happening. Because that, for me, is actually more fun than sitting there at the piano playing the music.
Oh, yeah.
My passion is watching people light up to music. It doesn't matter if that's an Alzheimer's patient, digital recognition through music, and all of a sudden share something with their caregiver, or if it's a veteran trying to reconnect with his family and watching that light up around the drum circle. This is the thing that keeps me engaged, that keeps me so passionate, is just watching the change, you know? That is so cool. And being in a place to facilitate that, that's what keeps me lit up, you know? There's nothing quite like that. And if you watch somebody's face when they get it, you know, or when it really comes home to you on a heart level, that's the reason to do this, Nicole, you know?
Oh, I actually do, because I've performed almost my entire life singing.
Yeah.
And Carnegie Hall, the Civil War concert, traveling throughout Europe, I miss it, actually, at times. I miss singing because of the emotional connection that it created with the audience. It's amazing. I could see them laughing. I could see them crying. I can see them sitting quietly and contemplatively. And I'm so grateful to hear you share about that connection, because it does create connection, and it just blows me away. So when you share that as a performer, I automatically connect with you, just by you sharing that. So.
And we're special people, right? We're the people who have to stand there on the stage and deliver, right? and it's cool to be that. And I love the fact that you watch the audience, because you know what's going on out there is the people in the audience are connecting deeply with what's going on, too.
Oh, goodness. Performing would be nothing without watching the audience.
Yeah, and you can watch a whole room change, you know, from people who come in and they're sort of isolated and alone, and then after it's over, you can see that there's connections beginning to happen within the group of people that are there. This is all pretty, you know, esoteric out there stuff. People have never performed in front of an audience. You don't have to take our word for it, you know, because that's how it goes. When you're in the audience, I sometimes find that I am at, you know, instead of being at the piano playing, I step away from that and observe myself as if I were in the audience. Say, hey, well, there's Bill up there. Oh, that sounded pretty good. Oh, that wasn't so great. But the same feelings hit me as a listener as the other people in the audience, you know?
Yes.
And that is a very, very powerful thing, too. Gosh, the socialization aspects of music are amazing. Its ability to connect, and the healing aspects of music are amazing. And, this art that we have is so vastly effective on so many levels. And from learning, you know, as a young child, right on through to helping to grieve the exit of a loved one, you know, at the end of their life. It's amazing.
Yeah, I can vouch for that as well, just because when learning music, you know, that actually took me away from stress that could have been at home or at school.
I understand, like many of us artists, you know, we're kind of crazy people. And it's the art that stabilizes us. In my own case, after years and years of therapy, much later in life, I came to realize that the music was the way that I kept myself sane as a teenager and early adult. It was just the thing I went to. It was my go-to thing, you know?
Yeah. It was, you know, it's funny, I used to think, you know, my life is so strict and it's so rotten, da-da-da-da-da. Of course, every teenager thinks that, you know, but in general. But I look back and I am so grateful that I had music when all my friends were going through severe rebellion. My only rebellion was to say I want to be called Danny, not Nikki. You know, all things considered, my parents had it easy thanks to music, and I'm grateful my daughter's actually connected to music as well, and apparently so is my dog, his squeaky ball toy. But it's
understood.
I'm so grateful for that, and I'm so happy to be able to share over the next 6 weeks about the importance of music in reference to PTSD, and I could not think of a better person than you, because you thoroughly are invested in the music personally and emotionally and spiritually. And
thank you. High praise.
it's earned. So when you're talking with PTSD, when we work with individuals, we're working with them from all aspects of their person. And folks, if you get a chance, go to his website, because you will see that when he's written it, he's talking about it not just strictly from a physical standpoint, but an emotional, mental, spiritual, whole physiological standpoint, on how music affects us as individuals, especially with PTSD, and how we can actually use it as an alternative method towards healing. And over the next 6 weeks, you're going to get to hear him every week talk about PTSD and music. And music doesn't just affect those with PTSD. I'm sure you would agree with me, Bill, when I say that.
Oh, yes.
It thoroughly lifts us up. It brings us down from crazy highs to a nice, comfortable, relaxing peace. And it can help us release. And I'm looking forward to these next 6 weeks. Now, folks, you can, to register for the session, go ahead and go to the PTSDretreat.org, the PTSDretreat.org. You already know it, but go there to register, and you'll be given the updates on this series ahead of time, and reminders to let you know, hey, it's coming. It's going to be happening this night. And I thank you guys so much for listening. Bill, I'm keeping this short because I know your time was brief tonight. But, folks, you have a lot coming up. And I will play some of his music, if I get his permission, as the beginning of future shows that are coming with him. So thank you guys so much for listening. This has been Nicole Johnson-Starr and Bill Protzman of MusicCare.net. And I am Nicole Johnson-Starr with the PTSD Retreat Radio Talk Show. Have a good night, folks, and I look forward to seeing you soon.